everybody. Good morning to you all, and welcome to Dice Tower News. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Camilla.
They're so excited. They're so energetic.
This is my news voice.
This is your news voice?
No.
Yeah.
This is
hard-hitting
This
stuff.
is Joey compensating for all that coffee. He's like, pretend that I am
He's trying
not.
to keep a lid on it. He's barely hanging on.
This is good.
How much Cuban coffee did you drink this morning?
Way too much. They didn't give me the little cups. I'm telling you.
Therefore, you have to drink the
Here
whole
you go.
thing.
I
That's
do.
how. I mean, there's no choice.
I'm not going to waste Cuban coffee. It's illegal.
Thank you.
You know, you could just drink
Thank
it.
you.
You know, you could just drink a little bit out of the big cup. You don't
No.
have to drink
First of all,
the
you said a
whole.
little bit. That would kill me.
A little bit of coffee.
That's
yeah.
the size of cup they gave him.
It is.
It's
It's
big.
insane.
I'm going to go out there and have the rest that you didn't have. It doesn't hit me the same way
Because you're
because I
Cuban.
grew up with it.
How old? Yeah, when did you start having Cuban coffee? How old?
When was I born? I know
Born
that. I know
addicted.
that.
I love
Don't
it.
worry. All right, everybody. Today's show is presented by Allplay, by the way. Board Game News is presented by Allplay. Make sure you check out everything Allplay does. They've got board games galore.
Shelves.
They have shelves. They have tables.
I'm pointing to the shelves, not
They have
Z.
chairs. Yeah, it doesn't look like you're going shelves.
They have shelves. Do you want one of these?
Not a very nice compliment. Not a very nice compliment. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the news. We're going to kick it off with a piece of news I'm very excited about. This is going to be for Battle of Legends, Volume 3, Joey.
I know.
Unmatched has a lot of lines, a lot of different products. They've done Battle of Legends 1 and 2, and here we go again with another collection of 4 really unrelated things, but sort of bigger than life, mythical. That's kind of what has made this line.
I agree. I like this because it goes back to non-IP stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Unmatched does this thing where it's like, wait a minute, did you forget about X? Like, did you forget about Adventures? Nope, here it is. How about your volumes? Nope, here we go.
Okay, well, hang on to that excitement because this is the last
I
one.
say it does say it's the final one, right?
Oh, that's sad.
So
Yeah.
Unmatched Battle of Legends Volume 3 here is coming this summer, first of all. And you are going to have in this one 4 new characters. You have Blackbeard,
yes.
Chupacabra,
Yes, please.
Pandora and Pandora's Box,
Interesting.
and Loki.
Loki
Oh, I
is...
thought he was Marvel.
If,
No, like Thor and Loki.
Yeah, if he looked like
That's
that
still Marvel,
in,
isn't it?
in the movies,
Like Marvel stole. Is that what you're saying?
It's mythology.
yeah.
It's Loki, like from mythology, like Odin
Yeah.
and Thor and Freya.
Freya with the wolves.
Again, all Marvel.
Jeez,
Wow.
uncultured
Doesn't-
swine.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Who are you most excited about? First of all,
El Chupacabra, of
Chupacabra.
course.
oh, of course, sorry. Blackbeard for me.
That's my guy.
Blackbeard is my second.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I like
we'll
that.
not use that ship
Yeah.
match. The ship map from last one.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
The Witcher versus Blackbeard.
But I will say the one I'm most intrigued by is Pandora because I want to know how they're going to tie in that box.
Yep.
You
I have to
know?
assume that a lot of the cards in your hand, there might be a little like if the player takes a card from your hand, it hurts
Yeah.
them. But if you keep it in your hand, it hurts you.
Kind
Some
of
kind of
thing.
double-edged sword
Something
type
like that,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious. We don't know. We're speculating. So they did say for Volume 3 here, they decided to bring this trilogy to a close. Part of that was because
Sad.
they heard from stores, board game stores, that they were hesitant to stock Battle of Legends Volume 3 without being able to stock Volume 2 and Volume 1, which they were worried about leading
okay.
to lower sales on this one.
Okay.
And it kind of makes sense. It's kind of,
I
again,
guess.
talking about double-edged swords, the double-edged sword of numbering a series,
Yeah.
where you drive the collectability of that product, but you also cut into people that are not willing to not be able to get one of the numbers. How many
Right.
people are willing to go, yeah, I'll buy Volume 3. I don't have 1 and 2, but I'll buy 3. You know what I mean?
That's a good point because you can still do the same characters, title them different.
Right. Or
Yeah.
if they get in at 3 and then they're like, oh, wow, I want more. Oh, 1 and 2 are no longer available. You know,
Right.
yeah. So I can definitely see it kind of cutting people out.
So they're
That's
gonna
good.
they're gonna split the difference here, make this the trilogy, and then from what they're saying, their next few cycles are going to be a little more tightly themed,
Okay.
and therefore they'll put to bed this Battle of Legends line. But I'm very excited for this third one. I will say this as an observation, having seen very little of this artwork, I'm not loving the artwork from what I'm seeing. You know, Unmatched generally has very strong artwork, and they use a lot of different artists. This one at first blush, I'm not so sure about this cover.
No, I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know if that's final. Is that final?
I assume this cover's final. I don't love the look of the cover, but I don't know.
I think I'm halvesies. I really, really like Chupacabra. I really like that one. And I think that's a good take
I don't
on
know if
Loki.
Magic Mike Loki? I don't know.
No,
It's-
he just looks like Wily, and like there's a lot of
guess.
personality in that picture. I like it. Blackbeard and Pandora are the two that I'm like, take or leave.
Okay.
You know.
All right, next up. There's more stuff for Heroscape.
Finally.
There is.
Heroscape
Oof.
is on fire. They are pumping out these SKUs like there's no tomorrow.
Are you seeing anybody play it?
I've seen Tom collect it.
Yes, that's about the extent of what I've seen too.
I don't know if anybody's playing it. I'm sure this is the kind of game that gets played at home, in
Yeah.
kitchen tables
Yes.
all across the world. Not necessarily one I would
That's
see
true.
somebody bring
Yeah.
and set up and play at a convention.
That's a good point. This is a play at home. We're doing our top 10 convention games today.
Yeah.
This would be the top 10 at home games.
Yeah. Not to say that, you couldn't commandeer a table and take your time setting up terrain and then play. But that takes a lot of time,
I will say,
setting
at a
up this game.
convention,
Yeah.
if someone else sets it up, that is where I'd play it.
Sure.
Setting up. I've never played it, but the setup seems.
So
to
if
be there.
somebody like hypothetically set it up at West next week, you would absolutely play with them.
I would, because last
Absolutely
time at East I tried.
Promising.
It's a short game, right? It's like an hour, 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
There you go. You heard it. Somebody
would
set it
play
How
up.
many
this.
games are you at this point promised to play?
Well, Ascendancy for one,
Oh, boy.
and that's 3 days.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's a bunch more stuff. Terrain, new minis. You have squads and single characters. There's so much
That's insane.
that continues to come out for Heroscape. They're not slowing down on this one. So there you go. If you're into it, you got plenty more. And if you're not, it's still a good time to get into it.
I would be interested to see how many people play this are new players and nostalgia.
I think it's a lot of
Nostalgia?
old players.
I think it's a lot of old players. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's selling well. I assume it's selling well with this many SKUs coming out, but I think it's a lot of folks that remember the old one.
Yeah.
And now
That
they're
makes
going,
sense.
now they have a kid and they're teaching it to their children. Yeah.
If you don't have nostalgia for it, you're getting into it through someone with nostalgia.
I think so.
You know,
Yeah,
that's what I
true
see.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up. We have a bunch of other Renegade Game Studios news here coming up, and this is one of them. Monsters Menace the World is coming out again. It's an Avalon Hill. Well, Renegade Game Studios is reprinting it, but it's originally from Avalon Hill, like many of the things they're doing now. And it used to be, I've seen the previous one called Monsters Menace America that came out back in
Oh.
2005. And that was an Avalon Hill release. And then that in itself was based on Monsters Ravage America, which was kind of an indie game, but came out back in 98. So very old, reworked, brought up to speed, I imagine. In this one, you're going to control a monster. You're going to smack each other down trying to gain infamy. That's the idea. That's kind of
Love
what
it.
the
Rampage.
Monsters Menace America was about, and that's what this one's about.
How does it differ from like that description sounds very King of Tokyo? How is it not dice driven? Like is it
I
heavier,
don't know.
lighter?
I haven't played the game.
Oh, okay.
I just
I thought
remember
you
it
had.
being on store shelves back at Toys R Us when I would
Okay.
go and look at Risk Godstorm and Nexus Ops and Vegas Showdown and Monsters Menace America. It was right around that time, back when Avalon Hill also put out their Cosmic Encounter. So I never played it. It looked very goofy. It looked very always kind of did.
Yeah.
Which is
Then this one, I mean, the description here is that, you're going to try to stop other players' monsters using your military faction and your cunning strategy. And you can play as one of these ridiculous monsters. Zorb, Conk, Nessie,
Can I be that eyeball? I want to be that.
Chupacoloso.
Sounds delicious.
It's like a colossal chupacabra.
What?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
He's
a
in the
thing?
back over there, Chupacoloso.
I really want.
El Chupacoloso is coming! Like that.
This cover is very 90s.
It
It's very
is.
similar to the previous
it
cover,
is.
actually.
Yeah, I like that
yeah.
a lot. I mean, it's Rampage
Yeah.
type.
Exactly.
I'd do that.
All right, next
All
up,
right.
we have a new Risk coming. Risk G.I. Joe Special Missions. And then this is, again, coming from the same team up here, Avalon Hill Renegade. You're going to be commanding Cobra and Joe leaders, each with special abilities. You play through 5 unique scenarios, and it comes with a bunch of little miniatures, 200-plus miniatures, with little GIs, air strikers, the little Cobra troopers, the little Wolverines, all that stuff. And you can complete missions or complete plots in it to achieve victory. So a spin on Risk.
Yeah.
This is interesting. That G.I. Joe, I saw at the Bash, Chris played Axis and Allies G.I. Joe with people. I'm like, G.I. Joe, people are still like, all right.
There's kind of a resurgence of it. But
There
it's
is.
interesting that a lot of the resurgence is in these older games. Risk, Axis and Allies, that kind of stuff, you know? So
It
it's
makes
interesting.
sense with this theme.
Yeah.
Right, you put this in Axis and Allies, in Risk, and
Right.
that checks out.
It's like doubling down on the nostalgia.
I wasn't allowed to watch. It was too violent for me.
Really?
Yeah, which is weird, right?
Interesting. All right. Well, a reprint I'm excited about
Watch
here
He-Man.
is Sentient is coming back from Renegade. This is a revised edition of Sentient. I know you've played this because I taught you.
I'm trying to remember. Like, I know I've played it. I'm trying to remember
Taught
which
you
one
and
it
Alex
was.
Marks.
Yep.
And it is one in which you are lining up dice.
Yes.
Well, you have dice, and then you draft these cards that go between the dice and affect the dice around them.
Yes.
And you're trying to get specific values.
Yep.
But the dice, one die shares the right side of this card and the left side of this card. So
I remember everything about it, but
it's very.
don't remember.
The theme is not really there. All the theme you're getting comes from this cover. That's about it.
Which
Same
is
cover
a
as the previous printing.
fantastic cover.
It's sort of
Love it.
supposed to be about like robotics is thematically what's going on, but that's really barely there. You are the designer. You play as a designer of sentient robots and putting together your robots and your network of robots. That's what's going on. You're not going to feel that, but the game is excellent. This new revised edition is going to include a new solo mode, a new game board, which the previous one didn't really have such a thing. And I'm excited just to have this game backing print. It's a really solid, thinky, puzzly, but light Euro style game. Have you ever played this one?
I have not.
Yeah, I think you would
Sounds like
it.
the type of game I'd like solo. So I'm interested.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I
So I'm
agree
interested
with
to
that.
see how that new solo mode is.
All right, next up, Scarabray. So this is coming out from Shem Phillips, designer, and of course Renegade still. In it, you are going to be developing a village. It's a resource management game that's going to have a couple of unique inventory balancing mechanisms in it, ideally giving you then a fresh twist on this kind of game. There are asymmetric action tiles that provide you a bunch of different variability between the
that.
players. A nice escalation as you go through it. And then it promises a wide variety of strategies in the game. It is for 1 to 4 players. It is from the same like Ancients series as the other ones from
Ezra and Nehemiah.
all right,
Yeah,
the same designers. It's not one I've played, like, and by that I mean any of this line of games. I haven't played any of them.
No.
I think you've played the Hadrian's Wall game.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be talking about something
here in a
else in a
minute,
second
comes
here
up.
that ties a little more closely to that, but I haven't played any of these games. So there you go. This is
This is one that definitely has my attention. I've not broken into this line of theirs either, but I really like the asymmetry, kind of the building, the escalation they're calling it here. I'm excited about this one.
you like this one thematically? Is that what's the
I
difference
think maybe is what it is, or like the mechanisms. It's the way it was. Maybe it's just the way it was presented. It doesn't seem like I'm too late in the game to get into this.
I like
this
this
one here.
theme more than some of the other ones they've had in the past, for sure.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, speaking of Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Here we have the Anarchy. This one's from Bobby Hill, the other half of that designing super duo. And in this one, you are going to be building your domain, defending your castle, storming enemy castles and strongholds. The one thing that got me excited is they're describing it as a game that's going to have a lot of combos. The idea is there's tons of chaining of actions and combos and creating sort of like cascading things, right? It has a 20-chapter solo campaign that's going to add in new cards, new rules as you go through the campaign.
Yeah.
And this is a part that, again, I said that the combo-rific thing kind of pulled me in, Well, this last bit kind of pushes me back out because it says that fans of Hadrian's Wall are going to enjoy this because this takes everything that was great about that game and ramps it up another level.
Okay, but I wonder.
I already heard that Hadrian's Wall was kind of a beast.
Right. It's this instantly is one that I want everything it's promising in an app. If it's going to be that combo-rific, it's going to be Hadrian's Wall plus one step, a 20-chapter solo campaign. All of that is yes. Give it to me, kind of like they did with Raiders of the North Sea, something like that, where I can sit down, play on the app. It's automating a lot of that stuff in the background, and I can play 20 in a row. You know, instantly that's what I want. I want this, but not in what this package is going to be.
Sure.
Which is probably true. I mean, Hadrian's Wall, the big thing is the combos. You know, it gives you that endorphin rush of like, okay, boom, 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 which all roll and rights do, but Hadrian's Wall does it to the extreme.
Right.
I will say that bookkeeping does become a lot with Hadrian's Wall. When it says ramp it up a level, I'm wondering, it can't be complexity because you can't go much higher, I can't imagine.
I don't know what it is. I like the look here. I do too.
I
like the title. I like the look on the cover a little more than Hadrian's Wall.
Okay.
But I don't want it to be heavier than that. I already haven't tried that, and I'm a little, nervous to do so. So
right.
we'll see.
This is the opposite of the last one where with the Scray Brawl where it was like, ooh, I don't feel like I'm too late to get into this. This is like, oh, I'm too late to get into this.
Really?
I've not tried Hadrian's Wall. I've still been a little intimidated by that one. I don't want Joey to teach it because he doesn't use half the rules.
You don't use the gladiators.
Right, yes. You don't really understand how they work or, just ignores them. So anyway, this one's like, ooh, I might be too late to get into this one.
All right, well, maybe this one will be the one for you then. Feya's Swamp is coming out from Chilean publisher Fractal Juegos. And this is announced to be their big title for Essen 2025. It is a 2 to 4 player game, and it is from Helga Ostertag and Anselm Ostertag, which are the designers of a game I played forever ago called Kai Vai, which I rated very low, to be perfectly frank. Well, it combines concepts of that game with Terra Mystica, which they co-designed as well. So this is bringing that. It's a heavy game. You know right off the bat it's a heavy game. Kai Vai was very much about fishing.
Which I think the artwork on the cover, which first of all, that's the Micho. I love that we're seeing new artwork, not new artwork from him, but
really
like it's a different style. Yeah, we're not seeing him do character people, architects and cavemen and that kind of stuff. I love this style. It's so engaging. But that is not the game I expected looking at that cover either. It kind of gave me, like, it reminded me instantly of, like, Root, where I'm like, ooh, cute and pretty. Ooh, that's really heavy,
But that cover, too, the axolotl just does stand out. It's like, they drew it and they're like, hey, could you add an axolotl? He's like, probably.
100%.
Well, if you look at it at this distance we're seeing it, you can barely see the crocodile in there.
Yeah, he definitely blends. But I love that about it. I love that it's like he's a little camouflaged and hidden, and the axolotl is just like out there.
You just bring it.
I really like this cover.
It's a good-looking game. I'm hoping again that that when I play this, I will not remember at all that previous Kai Vai game I've played. And it looks nothing like this. It was a very old-looking, kind of dusty-looking game. This looks vibrant and new, but it seems to be taking more from that, in my opinion, and at first blush here, than it seems to be taking from Terra Mystica.
I will say that middle board, that main board, is pretty uninspiring. If you look at it close up,
that's a big part of what Kai Vai was, but it was not as vibrant.
Okay.
And you were fishing. You were putting up pieces, fishing, taking special abilities to take more fish, store more fish. It was that's kind of what it was about. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic that they're bringing this back, and this many years later, having another stab at a thing, I'm always interested to see what somebody does with this many more years of experience.
Agreed. I agree.
So, next up, let's talk about duel games and Flamecraft
Didn't see that coming.
Duels.
It's like the first duel game in a while.
I understand the joke here in the title is that they are dual-colored dragons.
No, wait, I don't get the how.
Duels is misspelled, right?
Yeah, but they're dual-covered dragon. I didn't get the dragon part.
Well, that's what it is, because if you know what they're doing, like the
Got
purpose.
it.
But it just
Okay.
bothers me. It just Flamecraft Duels, and at the top you have the two little dragons kind of touching, a green and a red.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
I don't love that title. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I feel like if I saw that title, I mean, I would think it's cooperative.
Why?
Just the duels. Like it's a duel. It's a duo. It's a, two together.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
not dueling.
Not dueling.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
I could see that. Anyway, so this one is obviously set in the same world as Flamecraft. It's from the same people. It is from the same publisher, all of that stuff. It's going to be crowdfunded in April 2025 here. And the idea being that every round, a player's going to draw a dragon from a bag, put it on the central board. They're kind of the two little dragons are kind of playing the game there, right? Every dragon type has a special ability that can be fired up to draw more dragons or rearrange the ones already on the board. And you want to try to match 3 on the board to the pattern on the shop cards that you have in your hand to score it.
Okay.
I don't know about this one, guys. It sounds like a very abstract match a pattern type game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it sounds unlike Flamecraft.
It reminded me a lot of when the Quaxaquedlinburg duel came out, where you're like, what, did that need it? Why are you going on popularity of the game? I don't really see how it's going to work. It seems like it's going to be so different in order to scale it down. I kind of have the same vibes of hesitancy with this one. I'm not no on it, but it's like, oh, okay. I expected a 2-player game because it's popular and that's what's popular
Sure.
right now. But this is not the game I expected in that. And so that being said, it makes me excited about the Kickstarter so that we can see more of it before jumping in.
Fair.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's just hardest thing about these is if you like the original game, you're not necessarily going to like this one, and the reverse of that. If you did not like Flamecraft, maybe you will like something more of this style, but it's harder to bring those people in.
But I disagree. I think if done well, a whatever duel game reminds you of the original game enough that you have touchstones and it's its own game enough that you can enjoy it on its own merits.
You don't like Seven Wonders Duel? Do you think that's
Seven Wonders Duel is a great example of
fantastic,
that,
yeah.
right? There's a bunch of games that do enough where a Splendor Duel reminds me of Splendor enough that I'm like, oh, I get it.
Right.
Oh, but it's its own game. I'm not getting, this reminds me of the other game because it looks identical, but it doesn't sound like Flamecraft at all.
Right, the gameplay doesn't sound like it's going to have any shout out to the original gameplay. It needs to be unique and fresh and more suited for 2 players, but also remind you of that gameplay. It was like, oh, these mechanisms make sense. I jump right in. This doesn't seem to have that.
Yeah, I'm worried.
So,
it sounds like
we'll see.
arrange stones on a playing surface to match a pattern on your card.
Sounds like
which
harmonies.
we've seen a billion times too. You
100%
know what I mean?
sounds like harmonies off the bat, and I'm like,
So we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious, but I'm also kind of cautiously pessimistic.
it's
I
one of
guess.
the few times that I'm like, ooh, I'm glad it's going to Kickstarter so I can see more first.
Yeah.
All right, next up, this is another follow-up, and this is
So
news
excited.
from Salt and Pepper Games. The Battle of Versailles was an introductory title in what they're calling now their Wars Without Bullets line of games.
I love it.
Well, this is a follow-up to that, the Battle of the Divas, which is also a 2-player game. It's going to be crowdfunded for release in 2025 is what they're saying. And the idea here is that the players are going to take on the roles of Maria Callas and Renata Tebaldi in their fight for operatic supremacy. And throughout the game, you're going to be basically gaining fame, putting on operas, experiencing the moments in their lives, right?
Expanding your range, expanding, your harmony with the piano, different things like that, like learning the piano. I am stupid because this is like instant back for me.
Really?
I really liked Battle of Versailles. It really caught me off guard how much I liked that two-player battle game. This one doesn't sound like it's going to have the asymmetry specifically. You're going towards the same goal, which
I'm
is
sure
the ultimate
it will
fame.
because of what they do, these guys.
I think it's going to happen, but it's not going to be as asymmetric.
Possibly.
Because it sounds like at the end, you calculate whoever has the most fame wins. It's not whoever gets their goal first wins,
Okay.
with your varying things. But I'm sure it's going to have a little bit in there. But no, I think think the designs that I've played of from this company and stuff have just been fire. They've caught me off guard how much I've liked them. So I think that they're very smooth, very intuitive, and I just love that they're bringing attention to these themes that you didn't think of.
Right.
You know, the war. I mean, the Battle of Versailles. It's this fashion industry. I don't care about fashion. I mean, I wear T-shirts and blue jeans. You know, but
You do not. I mean, like, it's obvious. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
didn't
right.
think you needed to
We
say
were talking
that.
about that earlier.
Yeah.
But, like,
no,
it-
you don't.
it makes you care. It brings you into that world and kind of teaches you something. This right here, I'm just stupid excited. This one is like insta back for me.
This is not the one I thought you were going to be excited about.
No, that's just. I like the name Wars Without Bullets.
Yes,
line or
that's so
whatever.
cool.
It's like that. They're trying to play on that whatever doctors without diplomas or whatever it's called. But
It's
borders. Without borders.
yeah, okay,
Very
yeah.
different.
No, but I mean, it's just it makes you care about history, and it
Doctors
just
Without
like
Diplomas, that's a new
brings
one.
so much, I don't know, passion into it.
Yeah.
And I remember Battle of Versailles. I spent after playing that game, I spent like an hour just like deep diving, researching
That's
into
crazy.
that, you know. And this here, I do love opera music, but I don't know either of these two.
I guess
ladies.
it does give you a look into worlds you wouldn't ever think.
Yes.
That's like, okay, I didn't think opera singers would be kind of going at it like that.
And
but-
wrap it up in some thematic gameplay. You know, that thematically well-developed gameplay.
Right.
Because I played plenty of thematic games that I'm like, okay, probably should have thought about the mechanisms. You know, it's a perfect balance of both. It's wildly thematic, very historical, also just good. I could gush. I'm super excited about this one. Shut
Wow.
up, take my money.
Did you
Okay.
like Battle of Versailles? You
I
played it,
do.
right?
I do like it, yes.
Okay.
We reviewed that on the channel. You can go check that out. All right, next up, another game from Salt and Pepper Games here. Habemus Papam. This one is another take on a history-based conflict. They do this. Salt and Pepper, all their games are kind of historically based.
Wow.
And this one is a 3 to 6 player game, which is very different for them.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, all the games from Salt and Pepper so far have been for 1 or 2 players. So this is a 3 to 6 player game where you're going to basically you take on the role of cardinal factions, each representing distinct interests within the Catholic Church, and you are trying to influence the election of the next pope by supporting a candidate whose traits align with your profile, with your public, profile. It sounds like a crazy theme. It sounds like those movies. Actually, one of them is nominated for Oscars, I think, which has this kind of theme.
Recent one?
Yeah, I think this year there's a movie that has this kind of theme, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a theme I necessarily want to play a board game about, but it might be
It's-
interestingly put together.
To me, it's like 2 reasons that I do, play board games. Reasons I play board games is like just to escape world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's just bond over board games and find our commonalities. But what if we have politics and religion? The 2 things that like you're trying I'm like, no, that's what I'm trying to leave. Like the 2 things I'm trying to escape in board games and
Wow.
find commonality. So I'm like, this is the opposite of the other Salt and
But-
Pepper we just looked at that I'm like,
But
this
doesn't
one's
do
an
it
instant no thank
From
you.
like a hegemony type, like very high level, like let's not talk about what these factions are for.
Yeah.
Just, I will say the whole Pope thing, it's interesting. Like John Paul was like Pope for like 90 years, or whatever. So whenever there was a change of Pope, I had no idea. I was like, I thought they was like, who wants to be Pope? Like, I'll do it. But now it's like that smoke thing and all that. There's like so much that goes
There's-
into
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
Like
You
you watch
do-
for
because we-
black
for-
smoke or white smoke? What?
I don't know, for most of our lives, we didn't think of it,
No.
right? Because you're like,
Yeah.
what do you mean a new pope? They don't change.
No.
Like,
The Pope is the Pope.
he's in
He's
there
immortal,
for like,
right?
yeah, he's like forever in there. And I assumed there was some sort of, like you said, next.
Yeah, right?
And I think there would be politics that went into it, but yeah.
The one of them retired. I'm like, can you do that?
Yeah, you're like, is that that's a life
I don't
sentence?
know. I got
You
a
know, no.
job.
But anyway, yeah, this is an interesting theme. Again, it's not speaking to me, but knowing the company, they do put out games that are
Different.
that swing for the fences,
Yes,
and they are thematically very different.
Yeah.
So there you go. And particularly exciting news to me, The Bloody Inn is coming back, you guys.
Yes, this
The Bloody
is
Inn.
overdue.
The publisher of The Bloody Inn here is Pearl Games, and Pearl Games was under Asmodee for a while, but in January 2023, the ownership of Pearl Games went back to the previous owners. One of whom I should say is Sebastian Dujardin, who is
I
a
didn't realize that.
fantastic designer, the designer of Deus and several other games, some of my favorite games. So they've got the rights back, and they are reprinting this stuff here is the idea. So
Don't touch anything.
they, in February 25, so this month, they gave word that their new release, which is coming out again from them, would be a reprint of this, the Bloody Inn and the expansion, the Carnies. And the idea is that they should be out in English, French, and German in May of this year.
That's great. And this is something that they hinted at for a while, right? Like when the rights ownerships, and they were like, we're not saying no, it's just
Right.
going to take time. There's a
Right.
lot of stuff behind that we have to do, you know, getting the rights, getting the right people, getting the new ideas in there, like lots of pretty much paperwork and red tape. And so here we are finally.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, kind of dangling over and you don't hear anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we did it. We said it was going to take a while, and a while has happened.
Right.
Here it is. So I think this is just so exciting. So good to see.
I will say I think I overpaid for the Carnies, but I do love that expansion. That is just
I haven't played
adds
with
so
it.
much fun stuff. There's just silliness, you know, that
Yes.
carnivals in town, and it's just I really like that
I
one.
really like this game too. The expansion's good. I'm very, very happy and
Yeah.
content that they're both going to be back in print.
Absolutely.
Hopefully,
So,
I mean,
check 'em out.
same artwork, right? Just a reprint.
I assume.
Good.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. You know. All right, next up, let's talk about some games from Plate. They're going to be reprinting some stuff, with this one being Digit Code here, which is a new version of Dig Code, which came out back in 2024 from Japanese publisher Lotus. This one is, you're going to be trying to interpret a 6-digit digital code, and every player, there's 2 players, each player is creating a secret 6-digit code, and using, let's see, I know you read about this a little bit too.
I tried. I knew this game was not for me about 2 sentences
That's
in.
fair.
It was like-
You
do a 3-digit code, 3 numbers on top of 3 numbers, but then also have to have some letters after that.
letters A through Y can be used to indicate number segments in a column or a row. And we're asking each other questions like how many spaces
Yeah.
in row B or column Y are filled. That
And
kind
there's-
of thing. Is the number whatever, even or odd? You're using the grid to figure out what's where. You're asking each other questions a la Clue.
But
kind
even
of.
at that, there's only 4 questions that you can ask, or 4 categories of questions you can ask, and you can only ask a question of that category every like 2 or 3 rounds or something like that. So
Right.
you can say like, are these ones odd? But then you can't ask anything about odd numbers again for like a couple rounds. I was just like, oh my
if you-
goodness.
If this sounds engaging, then you already know if this is for you or not.
Absolutely.
You know,
I
It's
I already feel stupid. I'm good.
it's deduction. It is trying to puzzle out what you should ask when using that information in front of you to figure out that hidden number, you know, across the table.
Like Arduino, the game. This is the company that came out with Arama Mine or whatever.
Yes.
Yes, which I did not think I'd like that, and I really, really liked
Okay.
it. So maybe,
Okay.
again, I'm like you. I'm like, I don't think I'll like this, but I would try it because of that game. It's like I was wrong. You know, this sounds a bit more mathy than that one. That's the only thing.
You also like A Message to the Stars,
I do.
which I still don't understand how to play. And as this is
me
talking,
explain it.
I was no, please no.
Yeah, no, please.
But this was kind of giving me that same like, oh, here's this, and you're trying to mastermind figure it out, but also with these other rules and complicated. So you might like it because of that. Like if you like Message from the Stars, it was giving me similar vibes in the description.
All right, next up, another game from Plate coming out, another reprint, Billabong Race, which is a reprint of just Billabong. And it is a geometrical racing game. You're going to be maneuvering your team of kangaroos, jumping around.
so great.
He's just giggling.
Great. So
You like that? You like that?
The coffee
Aw.
kicked in. Just let it go.
It is checkerboard-style squares, trying to move around, jumping around the Billabong, which is that little sort of water feature there in the center. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on in this one. It's, like I said, a reprint of Billabong.
And they all have different like movement
They have little
rules and
different
issues.
rules
Yeah.
and what have you. It looks cute. It's one of those L boards. that plate has been coming out with, a sort of
Oh.
magnetic thing that opens up and the box kind of becomes the board.
Oh,
like an
okay.
origami box. Got it.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of those things. I know Mike DeLisio.
He's
loves
already
them.
calling you
There
out
he
there.
goes.
There he is.
There he is already, even
Mike
before
not
I said
failing
it.
us.
But it looks really cute, and again, a reprint of a proven game from before. That's always appreciated.
I wonder if you'd like those L boards more now that you. What are the board buddies that you have? The board butler.
Board Butler.
Now that you have board butler. I wonder if that would.
Maybe.
Do you even
Keep
use
them
your
together.
board butler?
Almost every time I play. Yes.
Really?
Also, yes. Do you not?
I need to get it back out.
You can give it to me.
good, yeah.
That'd be fine.
All right, next up, we've got the new Santorini Riddle of the Sphinx coming out from Roxley. It's shipped now to crowdfunding backers, and it should hit retail in May here, along with the new printing of the Santorini base game. So,
Oh, I didn't realize it was out of stock. Interesting.
yeah, I guess it's been
Okay.
out of stock for a while. But
That's
yeah,
good.
Riddle of the Sphinx has that book and has a bunch of different kinds of missions, if you would, different setups, if you would.
You
It's
guys
something
played
we
this.
played live here. So, yeah, go back and check it out. Look up our live play of Santorini Riddle of the Sphinx if you want to
Alright.
see a little bit of us, in
There are
action.
similarities to the Santorini as far as movement. But
Yes, right. But it's like a board with unique shapes, special rules.
Huh.
So it's like
You flip
scenarios.
over, yeah, it's scenarios. You flip over it, and there's
Yeah.
a new game, basically.
That's
That's cool.
interesting.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Zenith. This is coming out from Playpunk. Playpunk, who famously put out the pirate game with the flipping of the
Pirate flip, Captain flip.
Captain
Oh,
Flip. That's
okay.
from Playpunk, and that was
Okay.
their first release right out of the gate. They got award nominations
Oh
and all
wow.
that.
So they're a new company too, because that's not
They're
old.
a very
That's-
new
yeah.
company. I believe one of the people behind the company is Antoine Boza. Is partly his company, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
okay.
So Zenith here, it's a French company. So Zenith here is going to be released in the U.S. in June, with a European release a little bit before that, actually. So you play in teams of 2, and each teammate takes a turn in the order of their choice, and then the other team is going to go. You can show your cards to one another, but you can play only on 3 of the 5 colors that are out there in front of you. As you can see, they're in the center. There's 5 colors. You can play on 3 of those. You're going to have to manage your hand of cards, and sometimes you can ditch cards from your hand for tech upgrades or to claim the captain title, with that action allowing you to give up the 2 cards to your teammates so that they're never stuck with nothing to do. You're sort of 2 on 2, if you would, right? Cooperating. You can also... Yeah, there's always going to be more that you want to do than you can do. Looks cute. Looks very simple. I do like games that are built for teams. There's not
Yes.
that many that are not party games.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I
Makes sense.
want more team games. You
Yeah.
know, it's in my mind, team games are kind of, it's not semi-cooperative, but that's like a feel of it, right? It's like I'm cooperating here and not cooperating here. You know,
Right.
and so it's a middle ground. You
There's
know,
very few trick-taking games do it, but that's like its own realm.
Yeah.
yeah,
A few trick-taking games do that 2 on 2. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And there's a few games that have a mode that does something like this, but a game designed to be played in groups of 2, there's just not enough
Right.
of that.
And I think so that alone has me excited to try this. You talk about the themes and the mechanisms, like, sure, we'll see. But it doesn't put me off because I am excited about that team element. It's kind of like an all versus one. There's just not very many of those and not very many that do it well, I think. So, yeah, I'm excited based on that alone.
And you can apparently play this on BGA. Everything seems to be on BGA.
That's crazy.
Oh, gosh.
All right, next up,
Ugh.
Floristry. This is from David Gordon and Tam through their Up Games brand. Due out in mid-March 2025, a 2-player game. You're going to have 10 rounds of doing Dutch auction bidding where it counts down, and you bid whenever you're ready. What you're bidding on is 5 domino tiles. If you win, you pay, and you take whichever 3 you want of the 5. The other 2 go to the opponent, and then you start building a little pattern, and you try to score for your pattern. It says it's about 10-15 minutes. It is weird. The one thing that stood out to both of us, we were talking about this, is that the Dutch auction uses an app, and the app is going to count down from 5 to 1. That's the entire breadth of the Dutch auction over 15 seconds.
Wow.
What? That's really
That's
slow.
really
Long
slow. You have a
time.
long time to
That's
think about
3
it.
seconds per number. So 5, 4.
Which also means you're going to see what someone's going for.
3. It's
Because
like
they're like, hold on. Hiya. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to
Yeah.
be quick enough to where you don't see people going for it. If it's a 3-second hold, and you know you want 3, when they say 4, you're like, 3. You
Yeah.
know, like it's just. But that being said, the gameplay sounds interesting. I didn't realize this. Mike is saying here in the comments that it's the same design team as Monkey Palace. Is that for this one or the last one? I'm not. It
that's
is
for
Tam.
these guys. Yeah. This is from the same
Okay,
people
yeah.
as Monkey Palace.
It
yeah.
is okay. So I did enjoy that one. That caught me off guard. How like thinky it was. It wasn't. You're playing with Legos. I thought it would just be fun building Legos. It wasn't. There was much more
Yeah.
to it. So everything has me excited about this except for that timer. So I hope you can speed it up. But you could always use your own timer.
Yeah.
Guess so. We'll see. All right. Where am I? Okay. Up Games is also going to release Scurry Up, a 3 to 7 player game in which every round you're going to secretly bid on which spot of the tree you want to occupy, with the number of available spots varying on the player count. Yeah, you go to a spot on your own, you get all the stuff depicted there. If you share a spot with somebody, though, then you have to share with the other player. Makes sense. End up with too many squirrels for the spots available, and you get an oops card instead, which are going to be, well, not good for you. The goods escalate at the higher levels, then you tally up the points, and the oops scoring is based on who has the most, and the other item scoring is shown on the player aid. That's the idea. It says here that one of the aspects of the game, one of the neat aspects, is that each bug scores 1 or 3 points. And the way you know which is which is each bug token, you flip it, and you see how it lands on the table.
Oh, you flip it.
You
literally.
flip, you flip it,
Oh.
right? And the ones that end up on their back are only worth 1 point because that's the the bottom of the bug, the ugly side of the bug.
Yeah.
Seems light, seems kind of cute.
I'm super charmed by this one.
Really?
I think this one's really charming also. It was kind of giving me Survival of the Fattest vibes. Whereas
I
here
can see
you're
that.
vying where you go
Especially
instead of,
artwork, yeah.
and artwork, the theme, so much about it, but just like a lighter version of that. This one seems charming. It seems like a family weight game that I'm excited to try.
And that cover, you can't see it well. That's really a cute cover.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. If
looked
you
up
pull
on
it up,
BGG, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
This one's charming.
Yeah.
Well, let's go from charming to large and in charge.
I'm also excited about
The
this.
Talacerta's CO2 Second Chance is coming back with Mayfair co-publishing a new edition with Italian publisher Geochix. This edition is going to include a previously released small expansion and is going to feature newly edited rules, somewhat updated components. Yeah, it's coming back. They expect it to be out in March or April of this year, so you can get CO2 Second Chance again.
I'm really excited about that. Yeah, definitely. I might jump on this because I don't own the game. I would love, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see it come with a quick start guide or a first game version, kind of walk through your first couple turns, how to play, because this is one that is full Lacerda, very heavy,
yeah.
lots of things going on, lots of things to consider. I think just a little jump start into that, since I haven't played it in a couple years, would be much needed and appreciated.
It's not one I've ever played, but I certainly would be happy to try it.
Yeah, I haven't played either.
All right, next up, we've got another reprint. This is a game from Uwe Rosenberg called Canal, but that's based on Oranienburger Canal. Reprinted now, different look. Obviously, the look was very iconic in the previous one, while this one looks a little more in line with other board games. It's going to include 2 separately published expansion packs. It's going to feature changed iconography, kind of enlarged icons, a couple of other graphic changes. It's coming from Silex is the company that's working on this one. They're a French publisher, and they're working in coordination here, cooperation with Spielworks. With Mayfair releasing the English language of it. So that's 2 big games from Rosenberg and Lacerda coming out in 2025. This one's Q3 2025. So if you never played the Burger Canal game, or you didn't like the look, or it's one you liked but wished it was a little bit cleaner, then you got another shot at it. I do like this cover quite a bit.
I love that cover.
Whereas the last cover, I didn't really.
Yeah, I haven't seen the last one. This is one of those that at first blush, I'm like, ugh. But then I find myself still looking at it. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely growing on me. One of those pictures that you can't stop looking at.
Yeah.
And I just keep seeing more and more I like.
It's
so
really,
yeah,
really
it's
good.
Very long, slow burn cover. For me.
It's a good
I like
one.
it.
And then in the in Joey's news of the week here, this is not something I saw.
Where did it go?
Oh, it's snuck
Where was
in.
it? No, I saw it on my slideshow.
I did not.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, weird.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is not one I saw.
Crafty
so,
Games is bringing Ostia to the North American market.
Okay,
Yes.
I
So-
did not know this.
So
I missed
also,
it.
I wonder, is it an exact reprint? I hope so.
I think so.
I think it's
No,
like
I think it's-
literally going to
yes.
be put their logo on the cover and hit print again.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I'm-
good.
Which is good, right?
Yeah, it's good.
I have
It's
not
100%.
played, but I've heard only good things, honestly.
Yeah, it's great. So good. As long as they just do that.
Yeah, I
I'm
really
excited.
like it. I'm really excited to be able to have it in wider distribution,
Yeah,
and I
right.
think the game will do very, very well with wider
I
distribution.
really do think so.
So it's
Yeah, it's a great Mon-Cala mechanism. You can see the review on the channel. It's really
kind of something for everybody. You know, it's not
Yeah.
too
I gotta
not too
try it.
hard.
It's
I need
so
to try it.
smooth. It just
Yeah.
feels. Yeah, I love it.
Enough thinky to keep you engaged, but not thinky to be like, oh my gosh, I just brain burned. You know, so yeah.
Right.
All
really
right,
like
well, in Joey's actual news of the week,
Hey, what is it, Joey? What is it?
Camp,
Somebody's getting a reprint.
Camp Grizzly is getting reprinted from Trick or Treat Studios. This one is going to be coming to crowdfunding. It's going to be the full game and all of the expansions, most of which were incredibly limited in their
Incredibly
availability.
limited. Now that is underselling it. How
Yes.
limited they are.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
How much was it going right now on eBay
Oh, it was
for?
like $800.
Oh my
Yeah, they're
gosh.
very, very hard to get. So it's coming back, everybody. You can finally get the game. You can get the expansions.
Poor people that bought it
is,
yesterday.
From what I understand, real pulpy fun, right? I mean,
It
it's
is.
you know what you're getting with this one. And Trick or Treat Studios, they make good productions. So it's from a game they're reprinting, which they've done. But usually their reprints don't feel like, haha, Trick or Treat. This does.
It does. This hits it. This was my Grail game until I actually got a chance to get it and play it. It is what every game since then has tried to do, that 80s campy, silly horror type. Like last Friday, tried, missed. Everybody tries and missed. This just did it because it's silly horror that gives you that feel of
Oh, I'm so excited.
Jason, Freddy, all that type of stuff.
Well, it does say they're tweaking some of the rules because you said, I think when you were talking about it earlier,
Right.
you're like, is it a good game? No. Do I want it? Yes.
Yes.
You know, and so I think that they're tweaking some of the rules, but hopefully kind of saving that feel because, again, it's campy horror. It doesn't need to be a perfectly well-balanced game.
Right.
It
Well, it's
needs to
kinda
be
like-
fun and bombastic.
Like Mike Heller's saying here, it's kind of a little bit like a silly multiplayer Final Girl.
Yes. Uh-huh.
yes.
Is kind of what this is. And so the new things that will be
100%.
available here, an all new board, a few rules tweaks, including adjustments based on player counts, but still the same quirky game. Optional gameplay that removes player elimination. Cool.
Right.
If you want to play old school, you can do that. If not, you can play with these new rules. Some new art, including fully finished art where there was only placeholder art previously
Really?
on some of the expansions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like this was,
Whoa.
it was indie, right? So
Really indie.
Wow.
and they're working with the original designer and artist, so that there is strong continuity there. So
I love
really,
it.
really neat.
Love it.
And again, this is coming to crowdfunding
Which
soon. We don't know quite yet.
Oh, that'll be interesting going to crowdfunding because I wonder what will their stretch goals be?
Yeah,
what, you know, I
maybe.
mean, that could actually
That's true.
Crowdfunding could get in its own way. I hope that they do preserve this is what we're doing. This is what we're crowdfunding. Period.
I
You
think
know?
this is going to do very well on crowdfunding.
And that's my
yeah.
that's my concern that it'll do really well on crowdfunding, and then they'll feel the need to throw in a bunch of stuff that's
I see
maybe
what you're
underdeveloped.
saying.
Something
several
like that.
things about this too. Number one, that designer, the fact that got him on board, people have been chasing him for a while to reprint this, and he's just kind of either not interested or just hasn't reached out.
Okay.
Now, I will say he wasn't great at fulfilling this, but now that he has Trick or Treat behind him,
Yeah, it's different.
now it's like, okay, now you have a great product with a great company behind it.
Yeah, and Trick or Treat, good or bad games, they always have that theme. They always have the feel. They have good production.
They
you
look
know.
good.
Yeah,
they know
do.
what they're doing,
Have
and they do it well.
Yeah.
Have they crowdfunded before?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I mean, they're a very trustworthy company, so I mean, if they do, it's good.
Right.
They've
Yeah.
put out a lot of releases, so
That's
they're
the thing.
established.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
All right, well, there you go, folks. That's going to be it for us. We're going to get out of here because the top 10's coming up. When is that?
That is in 9 minutes,
Yeah.
and so I need to go write down my list.
Right,
'cause
exactly.
I don't
So-
have that yet.
It's crazy.
All right,
gotta
well,
go.
don't go anywhere. Go take a quick bathroom break.
Yep.
Come on back. We have
Yep.
a top 10 list coming at you right now. So that's going to do it for the news. Thank you very much. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Camilla.
See you real soon. Bye.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.